One thing we can both agree on is that moving is expensive, laborious, stressful, and high of anxiety, or at least can be. So we want to make sure that you make the best decision you can if you're moving to the state of Washington. We're going to give you highlights of several communities here in the South Puget Sound area that you're probably going to love, and I'm going to give you my fan favorite here in a minute.
We're Joe and Charity. We're local realtors with the Live Well Home Group, and every week we're helping people just like you who are making big decisions to buy or sell homes in the area. We made it easy for you to connect with us. Just go ahead and use that number below to call or text us.
All right, so let's jump into fan favorite. What I mean by that, I'm the fan and this is my favorite. So we're going to start right in our backyard, which is Olympia. Now, Olympia has a ton of great things going on for it. So here's the pros about living in Olympia. Number one, it's the state capital, which I think is kind of fun to live in a state capital because you got a lot of things going on with regards to the community, with regards to the state. I kind of like that. And you have so much green space around here. So if you want a place that's a little bit more laid back, connected to the state capital, so it's got some things going on, a really great downtown area with great restaurants, marina, a place to walk on the boardwalk. It's a really fun little community. So that's important to you. You might have another fan favorite with me in Olympia. But there are some things that some people might not like about. So here goes Charity.
I would say the biggest con for Olympia is just that it's not a really big city. So it doesn't have all the things that you're going to find in like Tacoma or Seattle or Portland. But if you're not wanting all the things that those big cities have, then this could actually be a pro in your favor.
Now, here's another one of my fan favorite things about Olympia is the price point. And we know when you're trying to choose the right place, it sometimes comes down to price. And I've got good news for you. The average price point in Olympia is $585,000, which is basically 40% less than Seattle. Because for the same type of lifestyle, you're going to be basically $1 million in Seattle, and we're such a better value. So if that's important to you, of which it is to most of us, that's something for you to consider.
That's right. And you can find homes for less than $585,000.
Yeah.
That is the average. So I would say the entry-level homes in the Olympia area are right around $400,000 to $450,000.
Yeah, and then you can find, if you're looking for something a little bit nicer, for sure on the water, you could definitely find that here, well over $1 million, and get some really luxury homes on the water for around that $1 to $2 million price. It's amazing.
So you're going to like living here in Olympia if you like natural spaces, if you like a lot of greenery around you, if you like the Puget Sound being right nearby, and if you're kind of granola, kind of earthy, kind of artsy, kind of funky, you're going to love it here.
And that leads us to a second place that you may want to consider, and that is Tumwater. Now, Tumwater is right next door to Olympia, but it does have a little bit of a different vibe, so we're going to want to check that out for you. Some of the pros of that area are it's a little bit more affordable than Olympia, so that's really great. It's got some really good school systems. It's got parks. It's got some outdoor spaces. So it is really nice, and it is really close to Olympia. So those are some things to consider.
And when we say it's really close to Olympia, it's kind of intertwined with Olympia. So you're almost in Olympia when you're in Tumwater. I would say the cons in this area are just that Tumwater really isn't that big of a town, and it doesn't have a lot of its own identity because you are so close to Olympia. It doesn't really have a real true downtown area. So if you're looking for like a quaint little town with its own like little town feel, then Tumwater might not be the spot for you. However,
it does have Costco, and it's got a Walmart, and it's got convenience freeway if you're heading south of Portland.
Right. So
you got that. Like, that's something. So the great thing is about Tumwater, it is a little bit less expensive than Olympia. So the average price point is $545,000, and you can for sure find things less than that in the surrounding community. Just depends on what you're looking for. Great about the Tumwater area is you do have some more rural properties as well, and if that's important to you, well, then you're going to have some options.
So you're going to really love living here in Tumwater. If you're looking to be near Olympia but want a little bit more affordable housing, then this is definitely going to be the spot for you.
All right, so you're thinking to yourself, okay, Olympia, Tumwater, what else you got? Well, we've got Lacey. Now, Lacey is just a little bit north of Olympia, and it's closer to JBLM, the military base that's a really big factor in our both communities of Tacoma and the Olympia area. So like I just mentioned, the great things about living in this community, it is close to the military base. So we do have a lot of military families that find that convenient for them. It does have some really good school systems, and it's got some nice parks and outdoor spaces as well. And also, it's a little bit more affordable with new construction that you don't find all throughout like the Olympia. You owe a little bit more to Tumwater, but not so much here in Olympia.
Lacey is sort of divided into two areas. One area, which is kind of the Meridian campus or Hawks Prairie area, has a lot of newer construction homes. And then the part that's south of the freeway has a little bit older homes. There's some new construction there, but a little bit more of the older homes. So the difference between the two areas is going to give you kind of the pros and cons of why you would choose one area over the other. If you really like a cookie cutter neighborhood that's nice and clean cut, then you're going to want to live on that north side of the freeway of Lacey, and that could be a pro or a con for you. And if you want maybe an older home that's got a larger lot, then you want to be on the south side of the freeway in general. Of course, as I said, you can find other new construction there as well. So those are some of the pros and cons of living in Lacey.
And I can't forget to say this about Lacey because once again, you've got a Costco. So you got that going for you if that's important. And it's important to me when I go to the one in Tumwater. All right, so it's going to come down to another thing here, of course, is price point. And the price point is $555,000. Now, you're going to notice a little bit of variance between that, and Charity just alluded to this, the new construction in those neighborhoods. That's going to be some of your more expensive homes. And a little bit south of the freeway, you're going to find some of those that are a little bit more affordable and below the 550 mark. So it just depends on what you're looking for and what's most important to you.
Your entry point into buying a home in all of these areas, Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, is going to be around that $400,000 price point. A little bit more in Olympia, but there's places for you to find. You might have to do a little work on them, but just because we said the average price point is in the mid-fives, don't feel like you can't get anything here at all.
Because you can, and we'll help you do it.
You're really going to love living here in Lacey. For one, if you're a military family, because as Joe mentioned, this is a really close spot to get over to JBLM. And if you want to be close to the freeway, this is a great spot to be also. And Lacey in general, along with the Olympia and Tumwater area, is just a really great place to live.
All right, so let's head north of the base to Tacoma. Now, Tacoma has a lot of things going on for it. It's quite fantastic. It's got a lot of new restaurants. It got the Tacoma Dome, so you have like concerts, those type of things. It does have some really great museums, and it has a lot of different areas for you to be able to find a home that perhaps is a little bit more affordable. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, so hang around for that.
Some of the things that you may feel are cons in Tacoma are, one, it's a really big city. It's the biggest city in our region, and if you're not looking for a big city, then that's probably not going to be the place for you. Another one is because of that affordable living that Joe is mentioning, some of the areas where you can find the most affordable houses may not be the best kept up, may feel a little bit more run down, so that's something you can consider. However, there are a lot of options in Tacoma and a lot of neighborhoods, so you're definitely going to want to explore every area, north, south, east, and west. And we can definitely help you do that.
Well, so what is that price point? It is $545,000. Now that's the average price point in the area. You're going to definitely be able to find things under that, and you will definitely find things over that as well. So whatever your budget is in that range, you're going to be able to find something that fits your needs.
In fact, I sold a home recently that was $350,000 and it sold really quickly. So if you're looking for a home in that $300,000 price range, you can find a good starter home in that area for that price.
Absolutely.
You're really going to love living in Tacoma if you want that bigger city feel. If you want things to do, there's always events going on like Joe was mentioning. There's museums, there's a lot of great neighborhoods, there's a lot of great walkability areas where you can just get out and walk the shops, and a lot of old town and a lot of historical charm with a lot of the old buildings. You're going to love that if you like that urban feel.
You're also going to love living in Tacoma if you work in Seattle and don't mind putting up with that commute, because it is more affordable, obviously, than Seattle at $545,000 compared to over $1 million in essence in Seattle. It's a great value. And for that type of thing, commuting's not so bad. And that leads us to the next potential great place for you to move, and that is Puyallup. And that is kind of fun to say if you've never said it before, so practice with me. Puyallup. That's how it's said. You're welcome. Or you're not.
Some of the things that you're going to love about living in Puyallup is that it is a very small town feel with historic charm. Downtown area has some really beautiful buildings, and it's got a lot going on, farmers market and everything downtown. As well as in that area, you're also going to find the state fairgrounds, and it's not just during the fair time that things are going on. It's like all the time,
all year long.
Every weekend there's multiple things going on. So there is a lot to do in Puyallup, and it's a really family-friendly area. People really love living in Puyallup.
All right, so the con part of this is that if you happen to live in the South Hill part of Puyallup, which is just south of the downtown area, and there's expansive new construction that goes with new homes. You're going to be able to find a lot of those things if that's important to you. A lot of them are cookie cutter, but sometimes you will get some bigger homes for sure in that area. Some really nice construction. However, with all of that new construction and all of that density is something called traffic. That's one of the cons. So coming out of deep South Hill back to 512 or the freeway can be a hot mess during rush hour time. So just be aware of that. And I mean hot mess.
Yeah, lots of people love living there.
Yeah.
You get the traffic with that.
But you get a lot of great things too.
Puyallup's average price point is $625,000. So as you can see, we moved up quite a bit from the other cities that we've been talking about. You can get a home for less than that there, probably more in the mid fives for your starter homes. but there is, like Joe said, a lot of new construction. There's also a lot of rural properties and properties that have been built a long time ago in the downtown Puyallup area. So lots of good options for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to love living in Puyallup if you want a small town feel with a lot of things going on to keep you busy. So the next place that you might want to consider as your best place to live is UP, or University Place. Now, the pros about this, it is clean and it's got some great schools. I'm done.
That's basically it. Like, if you're looking for a clean area with great schools, you found it. The main con about University Place is just that it's not a very big area. So if you're looking to buy a house in this area, it might take you a while. There's actually only 35,000 people that live here, so not very many houses. But if you're willing to wait, then you might just want to wait because it's a great spot.
Now that leads us to, well, what's it going to cost to live in UP? About $755,000, and that's going to be your average price point. Obviously, it goes well up from that. You're not going to find a lot less than $600,000 without needing a lot of work. So unless you like fixer-uppers, that's basically what you're looking at as price point.
You're really going to love living in University Place if you want to be in the Tacoma area, but you want to have that small community feel.
Possibly we've saved the best to last. Now, I've already given my fan favorite, but if my number 2 option would be, this would be my number 2 option, and that is Gig Harbor. Now, Gig Harbor is across the Narrows Bridge from the Tacoma area, and it is clean, it is idyllic, it's a little small community, and it's adobes, a little bit more luxury feel, and a little bit more luxury on the price point. So we're going to jump into that here in a second.
I would say the only con about Gig Harbor is the toll bridge. So every time you're passing across the Narrows Bridge back and forth to Tacoma, it's going to cost you. If you're willing to live with that, then you are going to love Gig Harbor.
So what's this idyllic community going to cost you? Well, the average price point is $935,000, and you can plus or minus that, and a lot more pluses, especially if you want to have something on the water or with a good view of the water. So it is a little bit more expensive, but you are paying for that type of community, luxury community to live in. If that's important to you, then that is a great area that I would encourage you to consider.
You're going to absolutely love living in Gig Harbor if you love a harbor town that's on the water, idyllic, quaint, and if you like a little touch of luxury, this is definitely going to be the place for you.
Well, hopefully this was helpful to keep you away from making a bad decision and moving to the area that you don't want to find yourself in. However, in any of these areas, we'd love to be able to help you in that process to get you in the perfect home for you and what's next for you in your next adventure of life.
So go ahead and reach out to us. We've got the number right below. Feel free to just call us or text us. We'll see you next time, and keep watching.